It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Thursday, September 1st, and this is the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. We're on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So what is happening on this wonderful and amazing Thursday? We've got current news from around the world. It's Question and Answer Thursday, and of course we have Danny's Money with Daniel Baker from Korea. All right, everyone, how are you doing today? Yes, it is Thursday. It's almost the ending of the week. Hope you really enjoyed the service last night, so let's get this day started together on the Morning Star Drive. Just want to remind everyone to keep liking and commenting. I want to hear from you guys and see how you're doing. If anything else, the biggest thing we want to do, like it's happening right now, let's build the community. So much to think about, so many things to kind of digest in our heads, a lot of things happening, transitions in Providence, but the ultimate thing that matters more than anything else is these transitions will come and go, but the community is a thing that will always be there. And I hope that we can build something that all of us can really feel comfortable in, an open platform, and that we can just speak our hearts and our minds. So, yeah, it is Thursday. I'm very, very happy. I will be heading out to Texas on Thursday. So for me, it'll be another 12 hours. But for you guys, it's going to be, it's already Thursday for you, but I'm going to head out to Texas. I'm really, really happy and excited to go. And of course, I'm happy and excited because there's a soccer tournament. I'm happy and excited because I get, to meet other members from around the world, not around the world, around American Providence and Canadian Providence. And I really like it because you get out of your environment, a new place. But most importantly, I'm going to say that probably the most exciting thing that I'm looking forward to is seeing baby Oliver. Yeah, I haven't seen him in actually, I saw him a month and a half ago. But you know what it is? Babies grow so fast, right? So it feels like I'm missing out on parts of his life. And of course, being an uncle and being the number one uncle, it means that, I can't miss all that stuff if you're going to be a good uncle. Yes, I'm looking at, I'm just excited though. Altogether, it's just going to be really, really fun and exciting. I played soccer last night, and it's going to be my last day to play soccer before the tournament. Just so, I have enough time to recoup. My body will recoup, and I'll have my energy back, and I'll be able to be in 100%. And honestly, I felt really good last night. I felt so good last night that even the young players were saying, wow, you're really good. So I was just like, all right, okay, so I'm getting into this. I was considering playing again tonight, but I thought to myself, I'd rather have my last game of soccer as a good one instead of just playing again, right? So I do have an early flight the next day, so I do need to do all the laundry and pack my bags and stuff like that too. So I'm gonna keep it there on a good note, or I'm gonna end on a good note. Just make sure that every day I'm exercising on the bike and running, so that at least I'm in shape, right? So and of course, even for me, it's kind of busy because Thursday morning, my flight's at 12:30, right, in the afternoon. It's 12:30, so it's right at lunchtime. But last time I went, it took 2 hours just to get through the line. So I'm going to try to get there 3 hours early, which also means my Friday podcast has to be done very, very early and on time. So in the morning, pre-dawn, go to the gym, and then do my podcast right away. But then it means that also on tonight, I need to prepare everything for tonight. Prepare all the bags and, prepare my podcast so that I can just record it instead of going through all the research at that time. So very, very tight schedule tomorrow. I think I'll be leaving the house around 9:30 a.m. around there. So. Oh, and today I get a haircut. Right before my trip, I get a haircut, so I'm really happy. I've actually, there's something that's really interesting about haircuts. I'm gonna say haircuts and new clothes. Okay, so I'm not sure if girls will understand this more, guys, but maybe everyone. So my hair is super long now for someone who keeps it really short. And it's been almost 5 weeks since I've gotten a haircut, so I'm going to be very relieved to get a cut. But when you think about it, it's something interesting. Whenever you get a haircut or you buy new clothes, isn't it interesting how the human mind works? I was thinking about this, nothing's really changed about you as a person, except cutting your hair or buying and wearing nice clothes. But when you think about it, this is the power of the mind. Just by getting a haircut, you get more confidence. By getting a haircut, you feel better. You feel lighter. You feel oh, you know what? well, I can take more risks in my life or whatever it is. For some reason, in your mind, when you get a haircut, you wear nice clothes, there is no reason for you to have more confidence, like no legitimate, reasonable reason for you to have more confidence, but you do. You just feel different. And I was thinking about this, like, man, it shows you how powerful the mind is. And we're not living in this physical world, but we are totally living in the world of the mind and spirit, right? It's all in our heads. I talked about with you guys before too, is sometimes we just think that we know what someone's saying. We think that they think this way about us, but it's all in our own head and we suffer by ourselves. And later we find out it's totally not like that. And we're like, man, did I just suffer like that by myself? So, it's really an indicator. When you look at this world right now, we are moving closer and closer to the world of the mind. And as someone who's working in a crypto project that's on the metaverse, oh, it's crazy how much the mind, how much people don't understand we are moving more towards the mind, where people are in the metaverse with avatars that don't even look like them, that are really, really pretty or wearing nice clothes. They can afford all these different things, and people respect them as an avatar. They don't even know what the real human being looks like. So I thought that was quite, when you think about the metaverse, I've seen some things on YouTube where people are living almost, I think 2/3 of their day is in the metaverse. It's pretty scary. Like, I saw this one person, all they do is sleep in the physical world, and then they shower and do all their other different things in the metaverse, which doesn't make, like, I'm serious. They have the metaverse headset on and they're showering. And I'm like, how do they do that in the metaverse? But they basically change the arrangements of their room, right, to fit the exact measurements of their room in the metaverse. Right? So the metaverse, they're walking around to the shower and they'll have this tub with water that's exactly the same as they moved everything around in their house so it fits what it's like in the metaverse. And they're basically living with this headset on for the entire day. Tell me that's crazy. But it kind of makes you understand that, yeah, with the internet and all these things, internet dating and all the different things happening like this, people are living in the world of the mind more. Like, it's moving closer to that side more than anything else. And I think this is why it's becoming even more and more relevant and important to have like social media and evangelism through YouTube and TikTok and all these other different things. And it's like no one knows what these people are doing outside their life. But, they're making big impacts on people. And I think that's something important for us to think about too. All right. Today is Question Answer Thursday. So we have a couple of questions. Number one is, what is the significance of 2023 and the importance in the Bible? Question number two is, the word study made me think, I really like the word study, made me think about stories of some healing or some type of miracles. Does anyone have any testimonies? And, also, last question is a very, very interesting one, real world thing. I'm always trying to become a better person and make myself in this history. But one of my pet peeves is that I can't stand when people are always correcting me in every little thing. I'm not sure why they always try to correct me, but it feels like they're putting me down, that I'm always making mistakes. Also, since I feel this way about this person, I don't even want to talk to them at all. But the feeling is always there. And whenever they come and talk to me, I start to feel anxiety and stress because I always feel that they're going to try to correct my mistakes. And I think that's a real world problem too. And we'll go over those three different questions. And, like I said, guys, if you have any questions, go ahead, pop them into the comments. Would love to hear what your questions are. All right. Also, Espresso with Sky, we have a very, very important announcement video. Just to give you a hint, I think the name of the video, the title of the video is going to be The Last Video. Right, so go ahead, make sure you check that one out. It's gonna be very, very short, so you guys will hear kind of the explanation of this announcement. So go ahead and check that out. And yeah, all right. So it is. I'm so happy it's Thursday, to be honest, because I get to go to Texas and fly away. Of course, like I said, from next week, from Monday's podcast, it'll all be done in Texas. So I'm really, really happy about this. But hopefully, you guys will really. Hopefully I'll keep my schedule. I will keep my schedule, guys. Don't worry about it, because Texas is actually 2 hours ahead in time zones, which means I have 2 more hours to actually get the podcast done, which is kind of cool. Either way. All right, so let's get into some music from member artists from around the world. And we're going to start off with the featured artist of the day, right? Featured artist of the day. Who is it? It's going to be Dia Wings from Korea. Actually, there was this really good comment that someone gave from on YouTube asking like, oh, how come you don't say other people's names? Like, say when I say Diawings, how come I don't name all the people in Diawings? Or, if it's another group like The Sky, how come I don't name those people? Or Rapture Collective, how come I don't name all the people? Because it could be very encouraging, right? And it's a very interesting thing because I agree that when you hear your name on a podcast, you're going to be encouraged. But I had to kind of explain, but it made me understand too that, every once in a while I do have to get back to who are these people inside these groups, right? But of course, also like I couldn't go to every single group for every single day and then try to name every single person and say something good about them or something like that on every group that we have, right? So, and like sometimes you'll have a song where it's the group plus a featured artist. And then because the featured artist is only a one-time singer, that's why you just name them like, oh, and please welcome Somebody Boys with featuring Mariah Henry, right? And it doesn't mean that I'm only talking about Mariah. It just means that she's someone that's not in the Somebody Boys, and the majority of the group will know who the Somebody Boys are, right? I've been doing this for 2.5 years, right? Everyone's gonna know who the group is and possibly who's in it, but they know the group, and the only person that's not part of the group is Mariah Henry, and then people are going to wonder, hey, who's this girl singing, right? When did Somebody Boys get a girl? But you put in, featuring this person here. Like, Rapture Collective, Till the End, featuring Sky, right? And of course, I'm not talking about myself because I don't sound like that, right? But it's kind of like common protocol. So I would love for you guys to keep commenting about these things because, some things that we may not know, some things that I look at and say, oh, that's kind of true. I should do this more also. Always looking for good feedback, guys. Good feedback. Good feedback meaning it's said in a good way. And so far, I've never had bad feedback yet. Either way. Okay, so first song is from Diawings from Korea. This is one of their newest songs that dropped. That song is called Flow. Then after that, Julius Miyumo from Australia. Yes, he did Health is Happiness yesterday. He's a singer. He's in that song Inside My Head with Kuro Black. He's on Rapture Collective. He's got his own song. This is the first single that he dropped. This song is called Living For, and it was produced and I think mixed by Kuro Black too. So he's it's great that they have someone there who can do all that mixing for them. And last but not least, we have Justar from New Zealand with the song. One of my favorite songs from her. It is Swaying.
Flow. Since when I watch the TV, it's cataclysmic. Contrast with the view outside, seems like the world at peace. Nobody inside, just the birds that fly. No planes in the sky, no riders on bikes. Only cops and trucks doing drive-bys. Silent streets on the highway without the hustle. Gym junkies going bonkers, now they can't build muscle. But I know the world real deep inside is in deep, deep struggle. Yeah, it's me and you alone, you know we've done this before. Yeah, we're running out of time, but I know you've seen this before. But wait, hold on, keep your head on your shoulders. Let go of your pride before the fall. Wash your hands, but don't ever succumb to the fears. Another one switching gears. You hear the voice of the mob in the rear. But one pack is enough. Another day will come. Another day will come. Another day will come.
When everything fades away and all that's left is you and me, I can't but help ask the question, what we're living for, what we're fighting for. Cause I know there is something higher than all of this.
It's World War III without the war zone. Now people more worried about more than just the ozone. Holding on to hope for the borders to reopen. Business at a standstill, family budgets frozen. Many eagerly pray for a vaccine to this crisis, while some fear the vaccine way more than the virus. Second waves are coming, making political climates divisive. The temperature's rising, people fighting. It's easy to be drawn to the madness like a magnet. Going against the grain can make you feel like a maverick. The drama sucks you in cause it draws you away from the drag of the day. From the bottom makes you feel like you're stuck in a daze. Yeah, it's me and you alone, you know we've done this before. Yeah, we're running out of time, but I know you've seen this before. But wait, hold on, keep your head on your shoulders. Let go of your pride before the fall.
Everything fades away and all that's left is you and me. I can't but help ask the question, what we're living for, what we're fighting for. 'Cause I know there is something higher than all of this. Everything fades away and all that's left is you and me. I can't but help ask the question,
Let go of your pride before the fall.
what we're living for, what we're fighting for. 'Cause I know there is something higher than all of this.
Looking over her shoulder, too late to turn back. Wishing it were over, left more than a scratch. Couldn't bear to see it like this. She slipped out the back, got lost in a blizzard, and fell through a crack. For what was she thinking? It's not a game. You can't take back the hand you've already sight, out of mind, out of use. She's cut herself free and loose, out of sight, out of mind, out of use.
And that was Jew star Aiden Verity over there in New Zealand with the song Swaying. Before that, Julius Miyumo from Australia with Living For. And of course, featured artist of the day, Diowings from Korea with the song, their latest single, that is Flow. All right, so let's get into some news going on around the world. Yes, we know what's going on in our communities, just kind of where we're living right now, and we probably don't even know what's going on in our own country. However, there is so much going on in the world, and as people who have the responsibility to take care of this world as the brides of this history, let's make sure that we know what's going on and we pray for these things. So the 3 reasons we watch the news: we need to see and report what we need to pray for, see what God is doing, and also comfort God's heart in the things that are just terrible, that we know that God is hurting from too. Okay, so let's start off with the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Nord Stream 1, Russia shuts the major gas pipeline to Europe. Russia has completely halted gas supplies to Europe via a major pipeline, saying repairs are needed. The Russian state-owned energy giant Gazprom said the restrictions on the Nord Stream 1 pipeline would last for the next 3 days. Russia has already significantly reduced gas exports via the pipeline. It also rejects accusations of using energy supplies as a way to punish Western nations for imposing sanctions over the invasion of Ukraine. The Nord Stream 1 pipeline stretches 1,200 kilometers under the Baltic Sea from the Russian coast near St. Petersburg to northeastern Germany. It opened in 2011 and can send a maximum of 170 cubic meters of gas per day from Russia to Germany. The pipeline was shut down for 10 days in July, again for repairs according to Russia, and has recently been operating at just 20% capacity because of what Russia describes as faulty equipment. European leaders fear Russia could extend the outage in an attempt to drive up gas prices, which have already risen by 400%. The steep rise threatens to create a cost of living crisis over the winter months, potentially forcing governments to spend billions to ease the burden. On Tuesday, French Energy Minister, Transition Minister Agnès Pannier-Runacher accused Russia of using gas as a weapon of war, and she was speaking after Gazprom said it would be suspending gas deliveries to the French energy company ENGIE. But Russian President Vladimir Putin's spokesman has rejected the accusations and insisted that Western sanctions have caused the interruptions by damaging Russian infrastructure. He insisted that the technological problems caused by Western sanctions are the only thing preventing Russia from supplying gas via the pipeline, without specifying what the problems were. The most recent controversy has been over a turbine which arrived in Germany after being repaired in Canada, and which Russia refused to take back, arguing it was subject to the Western sanctions. Also, when we're talking about the fighting happening over there in the Ukraine, over there in Kherson, heavy fighting as Ukraine seeks to retake Russian-held region. Fierce battles have been reported as Ukraine tries to retake the Russian-occupied southern Kherson region, but military experts have told the BBC it won't happen quickly. Heavy fighting is continuing. Soldiers are working around the clock, said Vitaly Kim, who heads the neighboring Mykolaiv region. Ukraine earlier said it had broken through Russia's first line of defense, but Russia said Ukrainian troops had been defeated during a failed attack. The Defense Ministry of Moscow also said there had been heavy casualties among the Ukrainian forces, but the claims by both Ukraine and Russia have not been independently verified. Kherson became the first major Ukrainian city to fall into Russian hands in the opening days of Moscow's invasion that began on February 24th. Top Ukrainian military officials have been tight-lipped about giving too many details about its reported counter-offensive, urging the wider public to be patient. On Tuesday, Ukrainians' Operational Command South reported that positional battles continued, and it said 3 key bridges across the Dnipro River had been hit again to make sure they were impassable. In recent weeks, Ukraine has been using U.S.-supplied HIMARS precision rocket systems to target makeshift Russian pontoon bridges, as well as command posts and ammunition depots. And this is widely seen as part of a targeted effort to cut off Russian troops on the right bank of the river, making it virtually impossible to send troops and weaponry supplies. However, Officials in Kyiv have been cautioning against any expectations of a quick win, describing the offensive as a slow grinding down of the enemy. Several military experts interviewed by the BBC seem to agree with this. And meanwhile, a spokesperson for the U.S. State Department told reporters on Tuesday that senior Russian officials have been tasked with organizing an annexation referendum in Kherson. Sergei Kiriyenko, a top advisor to President Putin, is overseeing efforts to hold a poll in the coming weeks. The sham referenda will attempt to give a veneer of legitimacy to a blatant land grab that would violate the Ukrainian constitution and international law. This is what they are saying there in the Ukraine. So let's move over to Taiwan. So what's happening over there in Taiwan with the situation with China? Taiwan fires live rounds at unidentified drones near outlying islands. Taiwan has fired warning shots at 3 unidentified drones that flew near its outlying islands. It is not clear who was flying the drones, but all 3 were seen flying back towards the Chinese mainland, said Taiwan's defense ministry. It comes as Taipei has over the past weeks complained of Chinese drones flying close to Taiwan-controlled islets near the Chinese coast. It's the first time warning shots have been fired at such drones. The Kinmen Defense Command said 3 civilian drones were spotted on Thursday evening in Dadan, Erdan, and Shiyu, 3 Kinmen County islets that are just a few kilometers away from the Chinese city of Xiamen. Now, it added that it fired warning flares before eventually firing a live round at a returning drone. The drones eventually headed towards Xiamen. There was no immediate response from China, though Beijing had earlier dismissed complaints from Taiwan about repeated harassment by Chinese drones. Earlier last week, Taiwan unveiled a record defense budget, proposing an increased budget of $19 billion. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen had earlier said Taiwan would take appropriate measures against what she called gray zone tactics, adding they would not provoke disputes and we will exercise self-restraint, but it does not mean that we will not counter. In mid-August, leaked drone footage of Taiwanese soldiers throwing rocks at the machines in a bid to drive them back was widely circulated online. The video stoked widespread ridicule and mockery on Chinese social media. Tensions between Taiwan and China remain at a near all-time high after U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited the self-governing island in early August. China carried out its biggest ever military exercise in the seas around Taiwan following the visit. China saw the visit as a challenge to its claims of sovereignty over Taiwan, which sees itself as distinct. Last but not least, we're going to go to Russia, but not about the actual war with the Ukraine. But this is something that hits home with me, actually. It's Mikhail Gorbachev. Mikhail Gorbachev, last Soviet leader, dies age 91. Mikhail Gorbachev, the former Soviet leader who brought the Cold War to a peaceful end, has died at age 91. Gorbachev, who took power in 1985, opened up the Soviet Union to the world and introduced a set of reforms at home. But he was unable to prevent the slow collapse of the Soviet Union from which modern Russia emerged. Tributes have been paid worldwide, with UN Chief Antonio Guterres saying he changed the course of history. Mikhail Gorbachev was a one-of-a-kind statesman, and this is what the UN Secretariat wrote in a Twitter tribute. The world has lost a towering global leader committed. Committed multilateralist, and tireless advocate for peace. The hospital in Moscow where he died said he had been suffering from a long and serious illness, and in recent years his health has been in decline, and he had been in and out of the hospital. In June, international media reported that he had been admitted after suffering from a kidney ailment, though his cause of death has not been announced. Russian President Putin has expressed his deepest condolences following Gorbachev's death. His spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, said. U.S. President Joe Biden called him a rare leader and praised Gorbachev as a unique politician who had the imagination to see that a different future was possible amid the tensions of the Cold War. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen praised him as a trusted and respected leader who opened the way for a free Europe, and this legacy is one we will not forget, she added. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson said he admired Gorbachev's courage and integrity, adding, in a time of Putin's aggression in Ukraine, his tireless commitment to opening up Soviet society remains an example to us all. And Gorbachev became General Secretary of the Soviet Communist Party and de facto leader of the country in 1985, and at the time, he was 54, the youngest member of the ruling council known as Politburo, and was seen as a breath of fresh air after several aging leaders. His predecessor, Konstantin Chernenko, died at age 73 after just over a year in office. Few leaders have had such a profound effect on the global order, but Gorbachev did not come to power seeking to end the Soviet grip over Eastern Europe. Rather, he hoped to revitalize its society. So the Soviet economy had been struggling for years to keep up with the U.S., and his policy of perestroika sought to introduce some market-like reforms to the state-run system. And internationally, he reached arms control deals with the U.S., refused to intervene when Eastern European nations rose up against their communist rulers, and ended the bloody Soviet war in Afghanistan that had raged since 1979. And his policy of glasnost, or openness, allowed people to criticize the government in a way which had been previously unthinkable. But it has also unleashed nationalist sentiments in many regions of the country, which eventually undermined the stability of the country and led to its collapse. In 1991, after a shambolically organized coup by communist hardliners failed, Gorbachev agreed to dissolve the Soviet Union and left office. He is seen in the West as an architect of reform who created the conditions for the end of the Cold War in 1991, a time of deep tensions between the Soviet Union and Western nations, including the US and Britain, and he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1990 for the leading role he played in the radical changes in East-West relations. But in the new Russia that emerged after 1991, he has been on the fringes of politics, focusing on educational and humanitarian projects, right? So, for me, I remember him. During my time, he had like a birthmark on the top of his head, and he was balding, right? So you can see his birthmark, and everyone kind of made fun of it. But it was a very, very tense time between the U.S. and Russia, and it was kind of like, it almost felt like the world was on the brink of war at any single moment. But he really played a huge role in bringing peace, right? So I think this is a very, very formidable the last leader of the Soviet Union. And now, it was the USSR at that time, and then now it's all split up now, and that's because he played such a huge role in that. Okay. All right. So let's get into some sporting news now that the current world news is finished. We're going to get into the EPL, some news going on there. Crystal Palace ties Brentford 1-1. Fulham beats Brighton 2-1. And Southampton beats Chelsea 2-1. So that's a big upset there. But in some other news, Manchester United still making moves. They agree to a fee to sign winger Antony from Ajax, right? So Man U have agreed a fee to sign winger Antony from Ajax. It was confirmed Tuesday, and sources told ESPN the deal is worth an initial $100 million with another like $5 to $7 million in add-ons, which will make it the second most expensive transfer in United's history behind Paul Pogba, who joined from Juventus for a then world record. It was like 110 million US or something along that line, right? That was in 2016. Barcelona too. The U.S. men's national team defender Sergiño Dest open to Man United transfer. Sources say the international Sergiño Dest is open to a move to Man U, but any move away from Barcelona before Thursday's transfer deadline is dependent on several factors. Dest, only 21 years old, has not been named in the squad for any of Barca's 3 La Liga games so far this season, with ESPN reporting that coach Xavi Hernandez has advised him to look for a new club. Also, PSG have signed Fabian Ruiz from Napoli, and Juventus reach an agreement with Leandro Paredes, right? So PSG have signed central midfielder Fabian Ruiz from Italian side Napoli, with the Spain international signing a 5-year contract, the League One club said on Tuesday. Financial details were not disclosed, but media reports that PSG paid an initial fee of around $22 million for that player. Meanwhile, PSG coach Christophe Galtier has confirmed that midfielder Leandro Paredes has reached an agreement to join Juventus. While there's yet to be a deal reached between the clubs, Galtier said he was leaving Paredes out of the squad for Wednesday's trip to Toulouse. In tennis news, the U.S. Open is going on right now. Defending women's singles champion Emma Raducanu. Rocky year from champion to first-round exit. Her 2022 U.S. Open campaign lasted just one round as she fell to Elise Cornet, 6-3, 6-3 in 1 hour and 42 minutes on Tuesday at the Louis Armstrong Stadium. Raducanu looked exasperated at times, struggling again with blister problems on her racket hand. Also, American Danielle Collins earns a first win over... Another big upset, Naomi Osaka loses in the first round in the U.S. Open. So she walked up, Naomi Osaka headed towards the locker room, laid down, draping a towel over her face. She was just out-hit in the Arthur Ashe Stadium by another big hitter, Danielle Collins. 2-time U.S. Open champion Osaka was left to contemplate a second consecutive first-round loss at a Grand Slam tournament. On the men's side, I watched this with my mom. Rafael Nadal begins a long-awaited U.S. Open run and gets a 4-set victory over Rinki Hijikata from Australia. And he's the number 2 seed, so he should have won, but he was very sluggish out of the gate. He lost the first set, 4-6. Right? But After that, 3 straight victories, 6-2, 6-3, 6-3. And yeah, it was a grueling game. Hijikata looks really, really young. Japanese, born in Australia, but great outing for him winning that first set. Last but not least, Major League Baseball. I'm not a very big fan of it, but we are tracking New York Yankees star Aaron Judge's chase for 60 home runs. Baseball history could be on the horizon as Aaron Judge approaches the elite mark of 60 home runs. The New York Yankees outfielder came one step closer with his 51st home run on Tuesday against the Los Angeles Angels, and I was watching it live. Well, I wasn't there, but I was watching on TV live, and I saw it. Amazing, right? He's just having an outstanding year. He's almost batting 300, 110 ribbies. One of the reasons New York is among Major League's elite entering the stretch run. Judge is also on the verge of making Yankee history, only needing 11 more dingers to break Roger Maris's 1961 record of 61 home runs in a season, a mark that has stood for over 60 years. It's also the American League single-season record for home runs. The quest to see if Judge can reach 60 has captured the baseball world. We are tracking every home run he hits from now until the end of the season. All right, so there it is, guys. That is the top 3 news in sports and world news. Hope you guys really enjoyed that. But you know what it is. It's time for the golden time. And yes, it is the golden time, a time of praise and worship to the Holy Trinity. Hope you guys are really looking forward to give glory to God and the Holy Spirit as they are looking forward to it too. So what are we going to sing today? What are we going to praise today? We're going to start off with the acoustic version of Soar, and then I'll preach with fire, and then we'll end things off with Path of Love. So as one body of the Morning Star Drive, let's spend this time giving praise, honor, and glory to the Holy Trinity.
Just as the Bible promised, the day came, and God fulfilled His will for the earth. Above a warm mundo, our spirits went soaring up with the Lord. We flew up to that city of gold. Now let us soar up, flying higher, acting on His word with our bodies here, overcoming ourselves, ruling over the dark. We have rapture, let's testify. We'll make providence shine, and our spirits will help with the strength of the rapture. As we make history, we'll see the Lord is smiling. Now we will soar up higher and higher, rising up on our powerful wings, knowing that we've fulfilled heaven's will for us. Raptured brides, let us live this life of thanksgiving and love. Now let us soar up, flying higher, acting on His word with our bodies here, overcoming ourselves, ruling over the dark. We have rapture, let's testify. We'll make providence shine, and our spirits will help with the strength of the rapture. As we make history, we'll see the Lord is smiling. history. Heaven is open, we have raptured. So let's seize this moment and make ourselves. Let's awaken the world to this new history, so that they will not miss this chance. Like the engine of love, time is flowing away. Our Lord urges us onward. Let's rapture up even more, soaring higher. Let's rapture up even more. Let's rapture up even more. Let's rapture up even more, soaring higher. It starts the history of apostles, and now providence is standing as one. We will testify with fire, with the Spirit we will preach, until the will of the Trinity is fulfilled. So come to this perfect history of brides now. So come and receive the water of life. I will preach about the rapture which fulfilled creation's will. I've witnessed it, so I will testify. Holy Spirit, please, won't you stay with me? I'll testify for him and this history with all my heart. I have seen the rapture, I have lived it, I am sure of it, so I will testify. Holy Spirit, please, give your fire to me. I'll testify for him and this history with all my life. I have seen his sacrifice, I've seen it, so I'll preach for him. With fire I'll testify, oh Spirit. For me, I have seen the history of God here. I have seen how his history's been fulfilled. So no one can defeat me. I have seen the person sent. I have received the Holy Spirit's fire. Holy Spirit, please, won't you stay with me? I'll testify for him and this history with all my heart. I have seen the rapture, I have lived it, I am sure of it, so I will testify. Holy Spirit, please, give your fire to me. I'll testify for him and this history with all Bethlehem, with fire I'll testify. Oh Spirit, oh Spirit, please be with me. Send down your fire. Oh Spirit, please walk through me. Let us testify for Him that's born. Send your power to me. Send your fire to me. I can't deny that you have sent your fiery spirit here. I will run as an apostle for you, as a raptured bride. Now I will testify. Send your power to me. Send your fire to me. The heavens and the earth will be shaken by the Spirit's power. When your fire has been poured upon us, then the world will change into a golden field. Oh Spirit, oh Spirit, oh Spirit, pour down on me. 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 Oh Spirit.
Since I have come, you've come as well. And today we become one with God, one with the Spirit. We unite on this path of love. We must walk now and for all eternity. This path will never change. Hear the word flows without end. Proudly we go on, always for providence. Now and always hope will shine brighter than the sun. This eternal love and hope forever shines bright.
God's will at last. The Lord our God's promises will not fail, they will stand without change now and for all eternity. Finally, this love of ours fulfilled God's will at last. The Lord our God's promises will not fail, they will stand without change now and for all eternity. Since I have come, you've come as well, and today we become one with God, one with the Spirit. We unite on this path of love we must walk. Now and for all
And there it is. That is The Path of Love. Before that, I'll Preach with Fire. And of course, that first song, I haven't heard that one in a long time. The acoustic version of the song, Soar. All right, so now that our hearts are prepared and made ready through the time of praise and worship, let's get into today's word study. And of course, every Thursday is Question and Answer Thursday. And we got 3 really good questions today. And the first one is talking about 2023. 4 months around the corner. 2023. We've all learned this lecture, right? Times and half a times. And we learn about something supposed to happen in 2023. What is the importance in the Bible for this, okay? So just kind of a quick review. And the thing that we need to understand is 2023, you're not going to find it in the Bible, but it is a biblical, it's an interpretation. The proper interpretation, right? And we go into the story of times and half a time. Right, and we know that there's the 3 big numbers, 1260, which is 3.5 years, 3.5 years divided by 30 days, which is 42 months, right? And back then, each month was 30 days. Unlike today is like 31, 29, 30, 31. All I remember is 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. And those are all the months that have 31 days. 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. I don't know why I memorized that, but those are the ones that have 31 days, just like we had one yesterday, right? For August 31st. So it's kind of hard to calculate if you don't know, is it a leap year, not a leap year, but you're looking way back at that time. It's every 30 days. And of course, we get the answer from Genesis chapter 6 verse, I forget what it was, 6 verse 7 and 8, 3 and 4, something along that. I forget which ones it was, but it goes through Noah's time, showing that there's 30 days per month, right? So we know it goes it goes into 3.5 years to 42 months and then to 1260 days, and that's symbolic, right? So we know that the times and half a times is symbolic of what? It's a time of restitution. It's a time of mission, right? So restitution is the time of like to restore or to pay the price for something you did wrong. Number two, it's the time of mission. So those who are righteous still have to do their missions. It's kind of like the same thing as Elijah. Elijah, even those 3.5 years of no rain and everyone's getting punished for it, still as Elijah, as the prophet of God at that time, still had to do his mission, helping people, counseling them, healing them, and stuff like that too, right? And then time tends to have the last one is a time of Satan, right? Where Satan attacks. Okay, so we know that there's a lot of these, we're learning this like, oh, okay, this is what the symbolic meaning of 1260 is. And then we go into Daniel chapter 12, where the 1260 comes up saying that the Christ will come at the end of the 1260. Okay, so we know that turns to like 1948. Right? And then there's a 1290 and a 1335. And the 1335 is the last number. It's in Daniel chapter 12, verse 12. Right? And this is talking about blessed is the one who waits for and reaches the end of the 1335. There's a blessing to reach it, to do it until the end, until 2023. Okay, so what is the significance of 2023 and the importance in the Bible? Well, in the importance in the Bible, we're not going to see much of it there, right? But of course, it's going to affect what's going to happen with the, with the complete Testament scriptures and stuff like that also. But the significance of 2023, when we learned the time times and half times, there were three numbers: 1948, 1978, and 1948, 78, and 2023. Okay, those are the three major numbers coming from Daniel chapter 12. Right, so we know that 1948, and they all have the same symbolic meaning, right? 1948 is the independence or freedom of physical Israel, right? That's the time when May 14th, 1948, where they were recognized as their own country with their own land, right? So that's the independence and freedom of physical Israel. 1978 is what day? 1978 is the day for spiritual Israel to get their independence and freedom. So who is spiritual Israel? The spiritual Israel is obviously talking about Christianity, right? So Israel physically is the physical Israel, the one that we see, the country Israel itself, right? So they got their physical independence, and then the next independence is the independence of spiritual Israel, which is Christianity. Why? Because that's when the new words began to be preached in 1978, the new words for the new time period. So there's freedom and independence, okay, spiritually speaking, right? They are no longer subject to the ignorance of the old times, and they're able to really, be free, kind of like in John chapter 8, verse 32, and then you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free, meaning truth was preached at that time, and because of that, people were actually set free. Okay, which leads us to 2023, which is also symbolically independence and freedom of what though? And when we were teaching time times and a half in the past, it was mainly about independence and freedom for the world. No one knew what that meant, but it was supposed to be independence and freedom for the world, like the world would be set free and be independent. I am not sure what that would entail, right? But the one thing we do know for certain is that just like the time of Jesus, there's an original plan for Jesus to live for a long life preaching and making the gospel and, going from country to country to preach the gospel, right? And bring the good news, the gospel to everyone. However, because of the responsibility of human beings, salvation was still made, but it was done in a different way and it went through the cross. Right? So there's a plan A and a plan B. So plan A for Jesus should have been the same thing as the time of a central figure should be 21 years in the public, 3.5 years in the grave, and then another 21 years of the resurrection, right? That's how it's supposed to be. But also we need to recognize that we also didn't go the exact route it should have. Yes, salvation's going to happen. Rapture's already happened, but it was supposed to be done in a different way. It's supposed to be done not going according to the cross, but we have gone according to the cross, which means the path has changed in some way. So this 2023 is very interesting. It's supposed to be a time of, like we said, freedom and independence for the world, but a lot of us are not really certain of what that actually means. But it says, blessed are those that reach the 1335. Blessed are those that reach the 2023. Could this mean that this would be the last time we go through any major persecution and slander? Could that be it? I don't know, right? So there is a significance to it originally. Like it was the freedom and independence of the world, which means the gospel probably going to be spread everywhere. if it was done properly. Like one thing that Sun Tzu did say that should have been done properly in 1999 was that, that was like Sun Tzu's coming out party where he's supposed to the world should know who he is. But because of, the disciples and stuff, we weren't absolute and we weren't strong. This is why it happened this way, right? And that's kind of why we have to understand it from historical point of view. What's going to happen in 2023? Something's going to happen. We just don't know what it is. Like blessed are those who reach 1335. What's going to be the blessing? I'm not sure, right? I'm not certain about it either. But 2023 is significant. It is in the scriptures, but importance. Well, what we understood before was freedom and independence of the world. Okay, so it's kind of 4 months later, we're all kind of in anticipation for like, oh, I wonder what this actually means now that we've taken the path of the cross. Like if we didn't take the path of the cross, it was a Lord of glory the entire time, then we would still, this would be the resurrection time, and it would be far different than it is right now, right? In the same way too, if you go to the very, very beginning, look at Adam and Eve. If Adam and Eve didn't commit the fall, it'd be far different now. If there was no fall, if the fall was never committed, right? It'd be so different right now. But all we can only imagine what it was supposed to be like if they didn't fall, right? In the same way too, 2023, I'm not sure what the original thing was supposed to be. If Sun Tzu didn't go to the path of the cross, which he did, right? So what would it have been? I have no idea how different it would be. All we can figure out is like some blessings happening in 2023. I'm not sure what it is though. Right? So that's why it's a very hard one to figure out 2023. All right. And it's like we said, 4 months around the corner, which is nuts. Okay. So that's kind of I couldn't give you a clear answer, but I hope it's good enough. And if you guys have any questions about 2023, whatever it is, pop it into the comments below. Okay. Second story is a word study made me think about stories of something healing or some type of miracles. Does anyone have any testimonies? And for me, this is I look at this as such an important thing also, right? It is very, very important. So I hope that all of us can continue to tell the stories, especially the personal ones that you actually went through, and especially those, if you want to see these like healing and miracle stories too, there was actually one comment that was made just recently, like yesterday. If you go to Wei Chi's Sunday edition, she talks about one of the miracles that Sun Tzu did there too, right? So if you go into the Sunday editions, you're going to find a lot of these stories that people went through these amazing miracles with Sun Tzu also. So go ahead and check those out too. The only story that I have personally is when Sun Tzu healed my broken bone, right? So I went to Italy to play in a soccer game, and what happened was, someone clipped my legs, and I landed on my shoulder, and I heard my collarbone crack, and the pain was unbearable. And it was so much pain. I see Sun Tzu walking running across the field to where I was, and then I'm like going, okay, in my head I was like, miracles only happen when you believe. You got to have faith. You got to have faith, Sky. You got to have faith. And I was like going, I believe. And then he looked at it. He says, where's the pain? I was like, my collarbone. And then, he raised his hand to heaven, and he hit my collarbone 3 times. And every time he said, be healed, be healed, be healed in Korean, right? And then he takes my arm, shakes it, and they bandage my arm up, and I start playing soccer again, right? So my arm is like put in a sling to my body, but I'm still playing soccer. And a month later, I go back to LA. We're playing soccer again. Exact same thing happens. I get clipped. I fall on my shoulder again, and the pain was even worse. And I was like, oh no, here it is again, kind of thing, right? And they took me to the hospital and everything. They took X-rays, and when they took X-rays, they told me it's not broken. But then the doctor proceeds to show me the X-ray. And he says, hey, look at this. And we see the collarbone that I injured. It's not broken. But in the X-ray, the middle of the bone is thicker, right? And what basically actually happened there was the doctor said, oh, you broke your collarbone before, but it healed perfectly, right? And at that point, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never broken my collarbone before in my life. But wow, this is so amazing kind of thing. So I've had it happen to me, right? And, guys, I challenge some of you guys out there, write your testimonies in the comments so that people can see it. Right? Go to, I think it's Cupcake Toast is the one that wrote this one. Write the testimony underneath her question, like, oh, I want to know more stories. Write it underneath there, and it's going to be so amazing to hear what so many different people have gone through, right? When it comes to, healings and miracles and stuff like that too. Sometimes not even by Sun's team, sometimes just God, when you pray for it too. There are so many stories about this too. Okay. So yeah, I do encourage people. Also, yeah, if actually the better way to do it is let's testify with Thule. Go email her. Her email's in the description below, and do an interview with her. Oh, I think people would love to hear those different stories of healings and miracles too. So if you can, go ahead and write to Thule about that also. Okay. Last question today for the Q&A is, I'm always trying to become a better person and make myself. But one of my pet peeves is that I can't stand when people are always correcting me in every little thing. I am not sure why they always try to correct me, but it feels like they are putting me down, that I am always making mistakes. Also, since I feel this way about this person or these people, I don't even want to talk to them at all, but the feeling is always there. Whenever they come and talk to me, I start to feel anxiety and stress because I always feel that they're going to correct my mistakes. Okay, so this is something that I think guys may go through this more than girls because we have a lot more pride, and that's just kind of honesty there. But like, for instance, something very, very interesting happened just recently. Okay, so I do these. I do a quick show every Monday for 30 minutes for my crypto project, and like 2 days later, someone writes to me. It's who are we partnering with for your Social Monday? Because my podcast is called Social Monday for that crypto project, and they're correcting what I'm saying, right? And what's going to be the first reaction is like, oh my gosh, you're going to correct me on this? Like, do you have a life? Like, why are you even talking to me? It's just one sentence that I might have said wrong, and then you're going to DM me and tell me it's not that, it's this. You know what I mean? And I thought to myself, I was like, well, what's he talking about, right? So I was like, because I don't want to, be upset at this person. So I'm just like, sorry, you've lost me. And they're like, I'm reading it right now. During your last Social Monday podcast, you said, who are we partnershiping with, and stumbled on the wording. Just wanted to provide the correct vocabulary to use. Now, there's a couple of ways that we can handle this, right? I'm going to be like, oh, thanks, but, it's live. Come on, I'm bound to make mistakes, this, and this. It's kind of like, oh, gosh, don't you have anything better to deal with? And my response was, that is amazing. I don't even remember saying that, but the fact that you've reached out to help, I love it, and I am so thankful. Most people would just gloss over it. And then he puts, of course. And I said, thanks for always looking out for me. And then he said, and then from that point, he's just really cordial and really, it was just a good conversation. And I do think a lot of the times, it's kind of like what I said before at the very beginning of the podcast. A lot of times the things that we are thinking is assumed in our heads, and it may not even be right. And part of it is, that's probably one of the things, like as you just said in your DM to me, you said it's one of my pet peeves. So just the fact that it's a pet peeve means it's something you struggle with. Right? So when you understand that, oh, this is what I struggle with. Oh my gosh, I can't stand it when people do this to me. Then if you're trying to make yourself better, understanding that that is one of the things you struggle with, then that's something that you have to start deliberately and consciously trying to fix. Meaning, how, the biggest thing that's going to matter to people is how you react. Right? Because imagine you're the one who, let's just say, out of courtesy, or you just want to help someone, or you want to start a conversation, or this is just the way that you've grown up yourself, right? Like, this is like, you just been up in an open family where people always criticize and give feedback and everyone's cool with it, right? But what if you're in that position, you try to say this to someone and then they get pissed at you and they're like, oh my gosh, well, look at you have your problems. And it's kind of like, whoa, what is going down, right? And then sometimes, a lot of times, people are not trying to put you down, right? And because it's a pet peeve, sometimes you can know it's a pet peeve or something you struggle with is when you deal with absolutes. I learned this from Star Wars, actually. The Sith always deal in absolutes. And what is that? It means absolutes are like, you never say this. You always do this. You are, I've never heard you say a good thing about me. Is it true? No, it just means that you're in a bad state or mentality. People will say good things about you, right? And you just miss it because you're focused so much on the bad things, right? And this is why a lot of times when you hear someone speaking in absolutes, they're always doing this. They never say this to me. Then you know they're not in the right frame of mind, right? It's not reasonable, right? Because in most cases, people are not like, they're not usually like that. Like they might say more negative than positive, but it's not like they don't say positive things, right? And a lot of it has to do with our frame of mind. And when the good thing is, if you're self-aware and you say, oh, it's my pet peeve, a pet peeve means that is something you are having a difficult time with and you're struggling with. And this is why, if you're trying to fix yourself and make yourself even better, to understand that that's a pet peeve, that's something that needs to change, right? And that's something you have to actively and deliberately and consciously try to move around. Like whenever someone tries to correct you, try to compliment them. Like make that your deliberate thing. Thank you so much for trying to help me. I'm really grateful. Most people wouldn't try to help me in this area, right? And when they hear that, you're going to be there. Even the other person, their guard is going to be down. Like, oh yeah, no problem. Just wanted to let you know, I'm not trying to say anything. Like a lot of the times, it's all inside your head. The feeling's there. The feeling is real. The reality may not be real, but the feeling is real, and it's always there, right? And what happens is anxiety and stress are always coming, right? And like, oh my gosh, they want to talk to me again. It's like, oh, the principal called me. Oh, they call me. Oh my goodness. No, what we have to realize even more, right? We have to realize even more deeply is the reason why we have so many problems or so many like bad characteristics is a lot of times we've grown up with it. A lot of times we're traumatized by it, but it is fixable. It is very, very fixable. And it's something that requires a lot of prayer. And I'm going to tell you why prayer is such an important thing for these mental things, because prayer is a mental thing. Prayer is something that is inside your heart, inside your mind, inside your spirit. And when you're praying about something, you're kind of like solving the piece of the puzzle inside your head. Oh, why is it like that? Why is it like this? Oh, wait a second. Is this true? Wait a second. Am I really like that? Oh, wait, I could be, right? And that's something where you have that time of meditation, you have that time of prayer where you're talking to God, where you become a little bit more honest with yourself, right? And you have to really begin to break down and break apart yourself so you understand why are they saying this? Or why do I feel this way? And when you can get down to the core and the foundation of why you feel that way or why your problem is like that, or it's because of your parents, or it's because of your brother, or it's because of your friends, you being bullied when you're younger, or whatever it was, this is when you're more able to fight these things and to fix it better, right? It's we have to look at it, be very, very self-aware and understand that, yeah, these things you can fix and these things you can change. And it's something that we really, really have to take our minds and our hearts to think about in a different way, right? So yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it is hard. Pet peeves, things you're sensitive to, it's hard to fix those things. But it is very possible, but you have to be deliberate and conscious about it. Like really do it on purpose, trying to fix these things. Keeping it inside your head, reminding yourself, having it on your phone screen so you see it every time you open it. Calm down. It's not, it's just you kind of thing, right? You have to be able to fix those things and do it in such a way where you're able to get over these things much more quickly. Okay, so I am very grateful and thankful that when through prayer there are a lot of things I'm fixing, things that I've fixed, some things that I'm still working on, and I hope it's something that all of us too. It's the best thing. The best thing about this question is I am trying to become better, right? I am trying, and what we need to do is find the source. Where is it coming from? And be deliberate and conscious of how you're going to try to fix it. Okay. So those are the 3 questions for today on the Question Answer Thursday. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you guys have any more questions and such, go ahead and post it in the comments below. Okay. So we have a special day today. It is Boy Band Thursday. song of choice on Boy Band Thursday, but I have a special song, and I'm pretty certain that 99.9% of you have never heard this song. Why? Because it's from a fast food chain. All right. So here's the thing. There's a fast food chain in America called Jack in the Box, and they had this crazy commercial where they're trying to advertise their new cheeseburger. Right? It's called the Ultimate Cheeseburger. And there's these people making pitches of how to advertise so more people buy the Ultimate Cheeseburger. And this one guy straight up, like, they made a boy band called the Meaty Cheesy Boys. And the song is called The Ultimate Cheeseburger. I'll post the commercial in it, but they have a full boy band song on this from the Meaty Cheesy Boys. It's hilarious. The song is The Ultimate Cheeseburger.
Girl, you know that there's one thing that I love, but it's not you I'm thinking of. I want the ultimate cheeseburger. Break it down. Cheese meat, and that's it. Baby, you know it's hot and juicy, 'cause Jack won't make it till you order it. I'm not lying, it's a giant, meant to satisfy. Understand it better if you ate more like a guy. Maybe someday I want you back, but until then, baby, please, I'm begging you to let me go so I can have my meat and cheese. When I say meat, you say cheese, meat, cheese, meat, cheese. When I say meat, you say cheese, meat, cheese, meat, cheese. Girl, I know you're a vegetarian, but I won't eat tofu again. Give me the ultimate cheeseburger. Cheese meat, and that's it. I'd be so broke up if we broke up, but this burger's bigger than our relationship. I'm not lying, it's a giant, meant to satisfy. I'm sure you'd understand it better if you ate more like a guy. Maybe someday I want you back, but until then, baby, please, I'm begging you to let me go so I can have my meat and cheese. When I say meat, you say cheese, meat, cheese, meat, cheese. When I say meat, you say cheese, meat, cheese, meat, cheese. You sexy girl. Don't get me wrong, I want you back, but this is where my heart belongs. I'm not lying, it's a giant, meant to satisfy. I'm sure you'd understand it better if you ate more like a guy. Maybe someday I want you back, but until then, baby, please, I'm begging you to let me go so I can have my meat and cheese. When I say meat, you say cheese, meat, cheese, meat, cheese. When I say meat, you say cheese, meat, cheese, meat, cheese. When I say meat, you say cheese, meat, cheese, meat, cheese. When I say meat, you say cheese, meat, cheese, meat, cheese. When I say meat, you say cheese, meat, cheese, meat, cheese. When I say meat, you say cheese, meat, cheese, meat, cheese.
That is the Meaty Cheesy Boys with the Ultimate Cheeseburger. Tell me, guys, that's the funniest song you've ever heard. It's from a fast food chain. They made it a complete song. Girl, you know that there's one thing that I love, but it's not you I'm thinking of. I want the ultimate. And at the very end, like, you guys got to watch the commercial. So this Jack in the Box is just like, he's watching this, and the PR guy's like, the marketing guy's like, girls love this, and he's like, our target is men, right? It's hilarious. Tell me in the comments below what you think about this song. I love this song. I was like, looking for a boy. I'm like, man, where's a good boy band song? And then when I saw this, I was like, no way. This song I think is from like 30 years ago, but it is so relevant. It is so relevant. All right. So there it is. Song of choice of the day: Meaty Cheesy Boys with the ultimate cheeseburger. All right. So let's get into the last segment for today, and I'm very happy and excited. It is Daniel Baker over there in Korea. Doing another segment of Danny's Money, and he's actually going to be answering a question that someone asked in the comments. So really awesome that you're getting interactions between people listening and the people making the segments. Hope you guys really enjoy this. Please welcome Daniel Baker with Danny's Money.
Hello everyone, welcome to your favorite podcast segment, Danny's Money. Now first, I want to say that time flies extremely fast right now. Now August, oh my gosh, it's been the most fast a month I've ever gone in my life. This is probably because I went to many places. I went to Jeju-do, which is an island off the coast of Korea. I also went to places like Seoul, which is a city. I also went to places like a lot of streams where I went and played a lot, and I really had a lot of good times with the SS. I also have a couple birthdays, which is probably the accumulation of all of that is probably why August went by so fast. And September is right here, right? Now, because we're in September right now, you know right now there's only 4 months left in the year of 2022. 4 more months before we have to, see a new year. So that's 4 months for us to prepare for the new year. That means now you guys know what next year is, right? 2023. 2023 is a time that Daniel prophesied in the Bible. It is the times, and half of times. What we learned in that lecture is coming true next year. So I'm extremely curious what God is preparing for us and what He's preparing to show and give to us during that time, because it's going to be it's such a important time in history next year. So I'm extremely curious what's going to happen and how God is going to show what's happening during this time. So let's talk about the current direction of providence. The current direction of providence is to inspect and check yourself. Now is the time to check your faith and your loves towards the Lord. Now, this was this week's message, right? But overall, there's 2 things in providence, which is the direction of providence right now. Inspect and check yourself. And number 2 is reading the Bible. Now, I'm reading the Bible a lot, which is absolutely giving me a ton of perspective about the new history and the overall God's history, and it's something that I want to keep as a long habit. But on the topic of inspecting and checking yourself, I also want to add one thing for you to check, and it is your finances. Now, Daniel, why finances? Why does finances matter? Your finances does influence how you run for providence. Now, if your finances are intact, then you won't really worry about it, or you won't really worry about your finances, which means that you have one more thing not to worry about. And if you worry about stuff, there's things you naturally want to worry about, but finances is not one of them, because if it's for many people, finances can be a big thing that they worry about. So if you take out the worry about finances, your relationship with God, or how I perceive it, is your relationship with God will be better, because it's one thing you don't have to worry about. It's one thing that is not blocking your way with your relationship with God. So here's one thing I've been really thinking about. And let me ask you, are you ready for the changes God is going to bring in your life? Now, I've been thinking of some seriously crazy situations. Like, if God told me to move to the States or make a drastic change, am I prepared to drop what I am doing right now in Korea and go where God needs me to go? where if God's plan was for me to change my path so drastically, is my finances in place so I can just drop my things and go? And I thought, like, am I able to do what Peter and Andrew did when Jesus said, "Come follow me"? They dropped their job of being fishermen and followed Jesus. So yeah, if God's plan for me changes, can I follow that? Now that has been like a big question in my mind. Now this thought really it really pushes me to make more money. It also pushes me to really strive for financial freedom and strive for the money that and the security I get from having a lot of money. Now there's a lot of good things from having a lot of money. Now you can get a lot of new technology or spend it on other things, but the biggest two things I'm thinking of is, number one, I can give a lot of tithe to God. Number two, I can have financial freedom, and I can have the freedom to do what God needs me to do at the time. Because if, let's say, I'm just tied down by my finances, and I'm working in Korea, I can't make a drastic change, then even if God wants me to do something or wants me to move somewhere, I can't do it because it's going to take a longer time. Now that's what I've been thinking a lot. Now let's go on and answer a comment left on the last podcast segment. Now, let me read you the comment. Danny, can you talk about how to save money while you're trying to evangelize? Wow, this is just an amazing question. As a campus member, it's hard because going out to eat is one of the few, if not only, way to hang out with newcomers and start getting to know them. Any thoughts? Now, first off, I just want to say that it's hard to find a good alternative to going out and eating with newcomers. It is by far the perfect time to talk about deep and meaningful topics. Now, I would say that it is a cost that is going to come out naturally out of your bank account. And I won't say, I'll say that there's almost no way of blocking like 100%, okay, I'm not going to go out to eat with newcomers because it's just such a valuable time. But in the past, there was a time when I was trying to cut down on my food costs. And I went to 5 and 6 stores to find the best price on chicken breast. And I finally found it. It was like $10 for 2 kilograms of chicken breast, which is just, it was just amazing. I mean, it was frozen, of course, and it was all the way in the back part of the store, so they didn't want me to see it. But it did cook well, and it fed me well for around 2 weeks. That's a lot of chicken breast. Now, out of many options to go out and eat, when you're bringing that mentality in, find the cheapest place to go out or buy the cheapest thing on the menu. Like those are the only 2 ways of saving money in that particular situation. Because, as I said, not going and eating with the newcomers is not an option. I extremely value the going out to eat with newcomers, even if it burns my bank. However, what I could do is make it cheaper. I can find the best prices, right? I can find what food is going to give me the most bang for the buck, right? And as I said, I personally recommend not holding back the money during the times you go out to eat with newcomers, because it's such a valuable time, right? Now let's think about how many meals there is in a week. There's 21 meals, right? 7 times 3 if you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then if you go out twice during the week, as you said, if you find ways to save $1, $2 on each of the 19 meals, the other meals you have, then you'll probably save up a lot more money, and you'll probably pay off for the money that goes into eating with newcomers, right? And So that's one perspective to look at it also. Now the last segment, or not the last segment, but the last sentence of the comment says, I feel embarrassed like I feel embarrassed like not being able to buy a proper meal or reject boba. Now, this is the perfect time, I feel, to be honest with your newcomer. Now, honesty is key, right? It's a good way of bonding and having and trusting someone, is to be perfectly honest with them, right? You say to them, bro, I'm really sorry, but sometimes I'm just gonna, just pick the cheapest thing on the menu, or sometimes, I have to cancel because, I'm saving money. I'm cutting down, right? So this shows that you have the discipline to do what's correct for your situation. Now, discipline is a big thing, and it's a good thing to show to other people. And now on the boba part, boba is a really big thing for me, right? I also love boba, and I'm a big boba fan, so I cannot cut down on boba. And even if even if I wanted to, I can't bring myself to reject boba, because boba for me is an expense that goes on forever, because boba is amazing. Now, if any of you have any questions you guys want answered, leave them in the comment section, and I'll feature you in the next episode. So I really thank you for the comment that was given on last week's episode. Now, I just want to take a couple minutes, last couple minutes, to talk about a realization I had this week. Now this week I had a realization that I really want to do a lot for the SS. I really want to do more for the SS. Like, I want to develop a comfortable and fitting community for the SS. Now, to develop a comfortable and, a fitting community for the SS, it means sometimes taking money out of my bank account sometimes, right? For food or other expenses, sometimes buying for the SS sometimes. So I came up with a plan to launch my own business and try to get the bankroll flowing, right? Now, this is going to take a couple months to set up and work and let it running, because there are a lot of things to do and learn. So I have a cousin in the luxury goods department, or the retail luxury goods industry, and he offered me tons of advice about how to build a business with luxury goods. A big thing in Korea is luxury goods, so there is a huge market for it. Now, I'm planning a way to make money through this retail business, and the amazing thing is that it's 100% online. This means that I can pretty much move around the whole world, and as I said in the first part of the podcast today, I really want to do what God, or go where God wants me to go. So I can be very portable in this way, because this career path is very portable if I do well. So that's my plan for the future, or for the near future, so I can really develop a good environment and have a lot of good times with the SS. Also pay off some of their lunch money, or buy them some dinners, or those kinds of things. So I really had that kind of realization that I really want to do it for the SS, and that pushed me to have a plan to make some money. So that's all I have for you today for Danny's Money. If you have any questions, don't be shy and leave them on in the comment section below, so I can really read them, and I'll comment. I'll either comment on your comment. Wow, that's a mouthful. I'll either comment and reply to you that way, or I'll just feature you in the next episode. Thank you guys for coming in, and hope you guys have an amazing rest of the week with the Lord. Peace out, guys. Bye bye.
And thank you so much, Danny, for another wonderful episode of Danny's Money. And it's so cool that he's able to answer a question that you guys gave in the comments below. I hope that you guys too continue to leave the comments, leave them down there, so that all the people in the different segments, whether it's Tuli for Let's Testify, Health is Happiness with Miyumo, not Miyumo, Julius Miumo, Danny's Money, and of course 2G Talks. Always looking forward to new things or new questions, all right? So there it is, guys. That is the end of today's podcast. Hope you guys really, really enjoy your wonderful Thursday. We'll see you guys again tomorrow on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm